not part of my count, so you can say one month. When you're done, you got something to go. Okay.
How you doing today?
Doing good. Well, busy.
Are the attendance doing anything first and then?
Over there?
Yeah.
No, no, no.
Ours are doing.
We're doing our room. What's our room in the following community? That's that. I mean, I don't think they have. No reason to share that.
A couple luncheons. Because he might not even be there yet.
That's true.
I'm just saying, like, maybe it's over, maybe they haven't come up there to meet the heart. Yeah. I mean, that's what I'm gonna do.
We're probably for college supposed to be 2:15.
I don't think they had a specific time. Maybe they did, I don't.
Everybody,
Hello.
what's going on? So, we're in.
Where are you gonna go?
Hey, you guys, we gonna rotate?
Yeah,
Yeah.
clockwise.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll come to you and then.
Okay. I'm here.
I thought they could feel your presence.
Yes, I thought you saw the disturbance in the trouble.
Chad, I heard you, we've been doing C-SPAN archives.
Yes.
And I think I heard your voice from 95.
Yes.
Yep.
There's
Doing the
one,
voiceover.
there's one on me after a speech to a joint meeting of Congress by the Irish Taoiseach in '96 that I, just within the past 6 months, I found afterwards, and I'm taking calls.
Yeah, that's what I heard. I heard you doing a calling
Yeah,
one. I did
yeah,
that the other day.
Crazy.
When you were a C-SPAN host?
I did that, that's my first time in Washington, years ago,
No, that was your.
mid-90s.
All the great.
Wait, you were a C-SPAN host?
Yeah, I did open phones, and I did voiceovers.
I did not.
I did all that.
Yeah, I just started running into this stuff. Yeah.
96.
Yeah. 95, 96, I guess. Yeah.
After this, I'll just go home.
Under the lights. Oh, just a chat. It does, it doesn't bother me either way. That's okay. We should save them. We could leave them here. We could pack them up and stick them over. Or just leave them standing there.
You guys are,
Yeah.
for example, I'm gonna try to get you in there. Can't move you closer. You're not gonna be there all day.
No. It's something else. Right. Here, they just have to rise and then turn it on. Yeah. Yeah, he liked it. Right. Oh, that's not good. Well, as of right now, all of our crew is working except there's 2 gaps for you and me. So we might be in here. I don't know. It's hearing. They're all look like they're all covering the hearing right now. I don't know if they'll join in, but that's there's definitely 2 gaps there, you and me. Oh yeah, yeah. This is 2021. Yeah, right now it's yeah, we could also be directors because those haven't been picked. Yeah, White House director hasn't been picked or gallery hasn't been picked.
You already got the,
Yeah.
we're not gonna send it away.
Chris Cachuri did.
He said, trying to deliver your show or
Right. Or today. Yeah, that could be it.
What's that?
Smart means at 2:30.
Hello?
Is it 2:15?
Oh, hey. I thought you said this was Thursday.
Yeah, that's Friday.
Yeah.
Now it's not so bad. I'm sticking around till 8 o'clock.
I guess they can't say that.
You're talking about the schedule, like, can
I mean, I guess.
questions, salaries, it was kind of like,
The house.
ask your guys. Like, this is
Yeah.
all.
Yeah.
Put this on the spot, you know.
It's funny. I did this really interesting thing.
Sumi's coming back.
And I was honestly spent the most of the last I met Dan Tumpin that day. And then when did Dan Tumpin? I didn't get a word in edgewise.
Oh, no.
No, it was amazing. I'm like, this is rare in my life that this happens.
Yeah, you're definitely your third in that race.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I was up in beer Padawan.
Wow.
Yes, but there I was.
Where they basically just show like they're there. Right, but I think this. Right, 2:30 is when the quorum is with the. Yeah. Yeah, right. And then they would handle the fall. Yes.
that should work.
We're not putting out very much, talk off the cuff guy during the campaign, I can say that.
No,
Everything was very,
those
like,
guys can try to get off with the same wall.
well, Ossoff would talk to you more.
Ossoff's also just more comfortable
Yeah,
with that
Yeah.
ex.
yes.
Discussion, whatever, reporters, more often.
He's just, Ossoff is better, yeah, Warnock used to, literally, he used to have him swear.
Yeah.
Right.
He's used to measuring his words, gathering his words, I think he's just more comfortable
Right.
in that way.
Ossoff rarely would like talk outside of his talking points, but he would talk to you. And he was pretty good at like diverting every question back to whatever his talking point was.
Right, yeah, he's,
Warnock would answer questions, they just would always be like, only, a step set up. He's gonna take questions, yeah, this is the answer. They talk to Cuomo, and he don't go Republican, so I can say.
And that,
I feel like,
I've done no talk, how are you?
Pretty good, how you been?
I'm good, I haven't seen you around.
talk about something
Hope you're well.
controversial. You know what I mean?
I mean, that was kind of what I was surprised by in the campaign, because
But if it was wrong, now left of it.
She didn't talk to her either.
You're so
the
big,
worst
yeah.
I've ever seen in the history. I've never seen him.
Okay. How many timeouts you have?
Formulary.
And challenges.
She started to loosen up of like, she came a long way in that year.
Was that right?
Even though she was still very stiff, she came a long way.
But she still wouldn't just like stop and
Yeah,
talk.
she wouldn't do that. But like even like off the record, hey, we're just chatting. The first time, like when she first got sworn in, we had one of those, and she was still just like, ma'am, we were just in your office. I'm the AJ's reporter, just trying to introduce myself. And I was so blown away that she was so stiff, even in that setting.
This world's a lot different.
There was only one girl.
That was off the record, just, I'm just trying to.
Did they ask you guys in, or did you?
I asked her to get a
They
chance.
did it,
to
but
meet her.
then she was on.
It's funny though, because all of her aides would tell you, like, oh, well, you got to know her. You knew her as a human, she is the funniest person, such a sense of humor, but
She
you're right,
never
you
showed
never saw that part.
And then, and so even, so she eventually got better at that, but still she was still super stiff on the campaign trail. Things looked like those. And I think a lot of
They started like towards the end, she would do local press gatherings, because they would purposely leave us out of it.
but still like.
Oh,
It
yeah,
seems so
also
forced.
manufactured, yeah, totally. Well, she does the same consultancy with Scott, who's also.
And that makes no sense because the aesthetic is very similar.
Yeah. Scott's big thing is, because I covered this more than it was always like, there's, talk about the same three issues every time, no matter what the question is. But
That being said, I do think it's I used to work for him.
yeah, no,
And Scott one-on-one is like, he's stiff because that's his personality,
right.
but he's personable.
He will disarm you in a way that you don't
Yes.
expect.
One of, like, we were, when we had to go off, cover the hurricane during the RNC, I
Right.
shadowed him.
Hey guys, 2 minutes. Thank you.
And so,
Yeah.
Like, some of those conversations are just like so real.
Right.
What? Call him.
Yeah,
I gave it to, you hear me?
I did hear, yeah.
I said. Where's Richard J. Durbin? What is the J? I don't even know. Joseph. Yussel, as they say in Brooklyn. Any of you ever hear of Yussel? There you go.
You learn something
Yussel
new
is the
every day.
Yiddish of Joseph.
Yeah, that's good. There you go.
I thought it was noodles. Well, that's close, I think. I think there's something like noodles that has a similar word. All right. Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for joining us. I want to thank our great leadership team of Durbin, Murray, and Stabenow for joining us as well. Now, we had a very good virtual caucus meeting an hour ago. We're all energized by the opportunities that are ahead with the new Senate majority. Our entire caucus agrees we must have big, strong, bold action to deal with this crisis. For the last 6 years, Leader McConnell and the Republicans turned the Senate into a legislative graveyard. Now that Leader McConnell has relented on his demand that was preventing the Senate from moving forward with an organizing resolution, we can begin work to help the American people get out of this crisis and make America bigger and better and stronger. And as I've been saying all along, the Senate will deal with three things simultaneously: nominations, we're working to confirm more nominees this week; a fair impeachment trial; and delivering emergency COVID relief. We want to work with our Republican colleagues to advance this legislation in a bipartisan way, but the work must move forward, preferably with our Republican colleagues, but without them if we must. Time is of the essence to address this crisis. We're keeping all options open on the table, including using budget reconciliation. The first step to pursuing COVID relief legislation through reconciliation would be to pass a budget resolution. And so, in keeping our options open on our caucus call today, I informed senators to be prepared that a vote on a budget resolution could come as early as next week. Senator Yussel.
Yussel's the name of the game. It's a year ago. It was a year ago this week that the first coronavirus patient was diagnosed in my state of Illinois. 1 year. She traveled to China, came back to the suburbs of Chicago, and was diagnosed with COVID-19. That's the first we saw it in our state. A year later, 1 million people in my state have been infected by the COVID-19 virus, and 19,000 have died. That happened in 1 year. We have not won this war yet against this COVID-19 or this pandemic. We're in a situation politically, though, where some people would like to think we have. Those would be the same people who say, you know, D-Day was so successful, we don't have to continue this war, do we? Quarterbacks who say, can we end this in the third quarter? That'd be just enough for me. Well, that doesn't reflect reality. We still have a battle to fight here. Go home and ask people how much access they have to vaccines. Patty has been a leader on this issue. And people don't. I can tell you in my hometown in Springfield, Illinois, calling the Sangamon County Health Department, trying to find a day when you can get a vaccination, even for eligible groups, is 50-50, whether you'll even get through. And that's the reality of what we faced with in terms of these vaccines. What President Biden has said is we need to get serious about this, and now. If we're not deadly serious about this, then this is going to be a deadly pandemic much, much longer. And that means moving now, ending the debate and moving forward with passing legislation to extend the vaccines and to make sure that more and more of them are being produced. That isn't the end of it. We have so many thousands of people in my state, 350,000 claiming unemployment benefits, 190,000 pandemic unemployment assistance, and 210,000 pandemic emergency unemployment compensation. These people don't have anywhere to turn. And if we're going to cut off our benefits to them, It's fundamentally unfair to these families. I was in on the ground floor of the so-called Common Sense Caucus, 908 Caucus, bipartisan caucus of senators. And the reason we came up with the bill we did and gave it to the leaders to complete in December was we said, this is an emergency bill affecting the first quarter of the year. So what are we going to do about the rest of it? That's what President Biden is challenging us to do, is to make sure that we do something about the rest of the year in terms of improving the economy. The cash payments for families, we can have a good argument as to the exact formula, and I think we should. But the bottom line is these families are desperate for financial assistance and they need it now. I'm just going to close. I'm not the economist and the expert in the subject, but someone who is. Janet Yellen said, without further action, we risk a longer, more painful recession now and longer term scarring of the economy later. We've got to help the American families across the board get vaccinated, get this pandemic behind us, and get back to work.
Senator Murray.
Well, thank you. It's
Oh, Murray, we know that Moish,
moist.
Senator Moish, that's Murray, like Yessel.
I'll check with my
I didn't know
husband's
what Patty was,
family.
but I knew Murray. Murray Sturgeon.
Okay. Is that another kind of noodle or what? Thank you. It is very clear that our to-do list is really long, but we are finally in a position to start acting on it. Families and communities are reeling from this public health and economic devastation that COVID-19 has caused. Rather than downplaying this crisis or dismissing the struggle people are experiencing, we are going to deliver on direct payments, childcare, vaccines, critically important, getting our kids back into classrooms, helping our state, local, and tribal governments respond to COVID-19 without having to cut jobs and further undermine our local economies, and much more. We're going to fight for paid sick leave and raising the minimum wage to $15 an hour, as Senator Sanders and I and our House colleagues laid out this morning. We're also going to be moving to make sure that the Biden-Harris administration's nominees are able to get to work on the massive challenges ahead of us. And we will be ready to hold former President Trump accountable for his role in inciting the January 6th insurrection, to make clear we reject his and others' attempts to allow brute force to win over democracy in this country. Our to-do list is long and it is ambitious because it has to be given all that we face. I'd also like to note that everyone in our country is struggling with this pandemic. Everyone. Every family benefits from having the Biden-Harris administration complete and able to tackle challenges like public health, work, education, and more in this moment. Every citizen should be able to trust their elected officials will stand up for their right to have their vote counted rather than overruled by a violent mob. So after the last 2 weeks of unnecessary delay, we will continue to urge our Republican colleagues to work with rather than against us in this incredibly difficult, pivotal moment for our country. But I also want to be clear, we are going to get things done. And most importantly, what I'd like families in my home state of Washington and nationwide to hear today is this: we know how difficult things are. We're going to get to work fast. Thank you, and I'll turn it over to Senator Stabenow.
Well, thank you very much. I'm afraid of what Senator Schumer's name is.
I don't know, Debbie.
I don't know. But, well, I'm so pleased to be here with our Senate leadership team. And I have to say, it's an exciting moment as we turn the page with President Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris and a new Democratic majority in the Senate and the House. 4 years ago, when the Republicans came in this same time, 2017, they made it very clear who their priority was. Very clear. They moved forward full speed on budget reconciliation to push through a $2 trillion tax cut for the wealthiest and most well-connected people in the country. We have a different priority, a different set of folks that we care about. We care about everybody else who wasn't included in that picture. Working families, folks in the middle class, folks trying to get in the middle class, people who are poor, low wealth Americans who have been left behind and yet have been the ones at the front of this crisis. working when we didn't have to. We're Zooming, they're essential workers and people over and over again who've been impacted by this crisis. So what President has proposed, what we are working on in support is to robustly and quickly help everyone both have their capacity to be healthy and save lives and be able to get our arms around this so everyone can get a vaccine, and also to focus on people's livelihoods. Everybody's life has been turned upside down, let's face it, everybody's. And we understand that we have got people who need to have not only their job, their small business, their farm, but children have got to go back to school. All of these things need to happen so we in America can get back to living our lives in a safe way and give everybody a fair shot to succeed in our country. That's what we're about, and we're going to work our hearts out to get that done.
Thank you, my colleagues. We're going to have to be quick today because we have to be on the floor at 2:30.
Do you foresee changing the way that the Senate runs in terms of working more days? Will there be more amendment votes than there has been in the past? I know part of the 2000 agreement was not to build an amendment tree for the two leaders. How do you expect the Senate to
Look,
change?
we hope we can get a more open process. Under Leader McConnell, it's been totally closed. We've hardly done any legislating. The House sent over 260 some odd bills, and none of them saw the light of day. We want to have a more open process. Our number one goal, we have to get big, bold things done, both to deal with COVID and to deal with the underlying crises in America, such as climate, such as economic and racial inequality, such as making our democracy more perfect. That is our number one goal, and we will try to work the Senate so much more is accomplished than when McConnell was leader. Yes.
Leader Schumer, you're talking, sounds like you're gonna move very quickly on reconciliation, like possibly. Do you have all 50 of your Democratic senators who would support reconciliation and the contents of that bill?
Look, we haven't even seen the details of the bill yet, so obviously that's a premature question. But I think our caucus is united in that we need big, bold change.
In 2013, with the nuclear option, Democrats said, no, we're not going to go down that road. The filibuster will still be here. 10 months later, they opened the door on nuclear option 1. Can you, number one, guarantee that in 10 months that won't be the case? And how do you explain to those who are pushing the Democrats to get rid of the filibuster that we can't do that right now? How do you
The bottom line is very simple. We are united in that we need big, bold change in America, and we will figure out the best way to get that done. Next.
You've got several new members of your caucus. How do you suggest they get ready for impeachment? What should they be reading and what should they be doing?
Well, they can study the previous trials and see how the procedures operated. But I think that this one, the American people were witness to what happened. We all were witness to what happened. And so you don't need to delve into details of things you don't know as much because so much of it was clear. And look, to me, what Trump did was the most despicable thing any president has ever done. I believe he should be convicted. Yes.
Senator, Biden administration has laid out obviously an ambitious agenda on immigration and climate and other issues. They seem to have been open to potentially breaking some of those things down instead of one larger package. That's something that you might consider.
Look, I read that in the paper today. I haven't had any discussions with them about that at this point. We're focused on getting a good COVID bill done. Last one.
The impeachment
No, I
trial,
don't wanna
have
skip
you
you,
given,
so.
have you given thought to how long it needs to last, what witnesses you'd like
We're
to hear,
still,
testimony you'd like to hear?
we're still negotiating on the trial with Leader McConnell. So far, the negotiations have worked out pretty well. We came to an agreement that met our needs and his. He needed some time for the Trump lawyers to prepare. We wanted time to do COVID and nominations. Let's hope it continues along that vein. Last one.
Leader, you said that you want to have a bipartisan deal and that you want to see what the details are in the package before you talk about things like reconciliation. How long are you willing to wait on Republicans to come to the table and
Look,
negotiate something before you go down a road like
we have to see what they say in the next few days. Some of the comments admittedly have been disheartening. Some of them have rejected things right now, but we're always hopeful that some of them will see the light. And remember, even on reconciliation, Republicans can join us and vote for it. That's happened many times in the past. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Good, how are you?